my screen. Okay, great. Hope you can see my screen there. Okay, great. As we kind of going over the book Machine Learning on Kubernetes, right? So in which the eventual goal was to build a kind of a pipeline through which we can feed our data, and as we feed the data, then we can optimize our model on the fly, and then somehow that model also need to get okay. So I think let me just quickly brief Daniel about the models. I'll just take 2 minutes and then we kind of jump into it. So in the machine learning or in the AI space, what is needed is you need to do a prediction based on certain pattern what you have seen. So like the simple example can be if you know the price of houses in your locality, and you have kind of put down all the parameters for that. Let's say what is the size of the house, how far it is from the main city, and all those things, right? Based on that, we can predict what is the price of the given house going to be in a given location, right? And if we can somehow put them, so think about this is a problem small scale, but you can think about you can take it at the entire country level, at state level, and everything, right? So, for example, if somebody comes to your website and say, "I want to buy the apartment here. What's the price?" and somehow I can magically tell you that this is the price you have to pay for buying the house there. So we would basically kind of collect all the information somehow. We would train an algorithm. That algorithm we can behave as a model, and then eventually we can predict what's going to happen, right? So that is the entire thing what you want to do eventually do with machine learning, that you somehow learn from a pattern and then you can predict based on the request from the end user. Now, this is not a process which can be done at a very like small scale, because you would need to first have lot enough data, and data can come from a different locations, and then you have to kind of process the information, you have to train the model, then serve the model. So all these things are required to build the entire thing. So we talked about how we can create a model, and we can deploy on a container, we can deploy on Kubernetes. Those all things we have covered earlier. What we did not cover earlier is how we can create a data pipeline. What do I mean by that is, if I'm getting inputs from different sources, like for example, I'm getting data from a database, data from an Excel sheet, data from, let's say, Kafka, and many other places. So if I'm getting the data from different sources, how we are going to take all of that and process it? And this I don't want to do one time. I want to do it continuously, because I may get my data to from the recent data input from by my team and all that stuff, right? At random, whenever. So whenever it comes, I want to process it, right? And for that purpose, we need to have some way of doing things. So Spark is a tool through which we can build this data pipeline. So for example, I want to capture data from a database, from the Kafka, and from maybe some Google Sheet and all that stuff, right? I want to get the data. And as I get the data, I want to clean it up. Then after cleaning up, I want to basically put it in the right format, do some merging, cleaning up, and all those things, right? And for that purpose, if I have multiple process or multiple steps which I want to finish off as a process of my doing any operations, I would like to automate that process as well. And for that purpose, we have something called as Airflow. Again, there can be other things you can also use, but in this book, it talked about the data pipeline creation with Spark and the Airflow. So I could set it up in my environment, though I could not run the entire demo, but I would tell you how that would work. But hopefully, problem is clear to everybody that I'm getting data from different sources. I want to process them, and I want to do it every time, every day, or whatever it is, train my things and so on. So if you have heard about workflows. I think in Argo, you would have heard about workflows that I want to do something one after another, right? I perform one operation, then second, then third, and so on. So similarly here, what in this book example they have given is that we have a data from a flight data we have, and I want to kind of tell whether if I am booking a flight, whether that flight is going to be late, or if it is late, how much. That is the data what is given to us like previous data. So if I build a model, so think about you have a model which is being built and you're deployed on a site. When a customer comes to your site, you decide to say, I want to go from, let's say, one place to another place, which can be whatever place, right? And as you choose the place, it can tell you this particular path would be taken by fastest, or you have, let's say, three airlines you have. You can look at the previous data. You can say that, okay, this particular um, um, plane or this particular company, right? Whatever that, what is the right word there, right?
Airline.
Airline, right? Which airline is going to be most uh, will not would take you on time, will not delay you. So that's something which you want to do. So for that purpose, I need to kind of keep getting data from different airlines, from different airports, how much time the flight has flown, and how when it has reached, and all that stuff, right? So what they are saying is, I'm going to get that data via the some CSV file. What is here on the S3 bucket. Similarly, there is some data which is there on some Postgres data, right? So I have some data in the Postgres and I have some data on the CSV, and eventually I want to merge them together and recreate my tables to do the predictions, to create the training and so on. See, what's the idea is that uh, when you get data from different sources, right? We want to combine them and create another view of the data which can be used for the purpose of training. Think about the example of your e-commerce website, right? We have the data coming from, let's say, orders. Then we can have data from logistics. Then we have the data from customer review. So all this data we get from different sources. We have to somehow merge them together to uh, train our model. So the problem is, how do I do that, and how do I do it automatically every time? And that is where this Spark shines, that you can connect different sources, perform your operation, perform your uh, data curation, which you can feed to the next level, right? So for that, this is the step what has been given here, that I'm going to use that Spark. That Spark is going to manage that, and once I've done it once, what the next part is, I want to automate with the help of Airflow. So so I want to automate with the help of Airflow, in which I want to say this is the process, how it should go, right? You start the Spark cluster, you execute Python, then stop the cluster. So what I could do is I could configure a Kubernetes cluster running on kind, and I could configure the Spark and the Airflow on that, which I'll show you right now. So let me kind of reach there. Yeah. So what you can see on my setup, I have this Kubernetes cluster running via the kind. So one master, two nodes I have. Um, and on this particular setup, what I have done is I have configured a Spark operator. So if I look at Helm list, so you can see there I have configured the Spark operator. Let me just change the permission here. Sorry. Why is it saying like that? Okay. Okay, I don't know what happened. Is group readable? It shouldn't. Oh, it's fine, right?
I think it's just a warning. You can ignore that.
Yeah, just ignore it. Yeah, correct. Yeah, just ignore it, whatever is there. So yeah, so what I've done is I've configured this Spark operator running on my cluster. Now, what a Spark operator does is it is going to basically look for the Spark application. So as you, if you know that, how does the Spark, how does any operator work? You deploy the operator to create an object. So what happened is we have deployed the Spark operator, and through that we can manage an object called Spark application. So currently, I may have some of them running, previous one. So as you can see that I have running some of these applications of the type of Spark application. And what this does is it, as I create this object, it's going to create that Spark setup for me, and then it's going to perform the operation. Like in this case, the example what I have here is just doing the calculation of the pi. And if I run this example, you can see. So if I, let's just run it here actually. So if I open up this Spark app here, what you can see here, I'm defining the kind Spark application, defining my namespace and this thing, and then I'm telling you it is of type Scala language that is there. I believe so. That's what it means. And then I'm saying that okay, I want to perform eventually. Uh, this is my application file which I want to execute, and this is the class. I believe in that. So I just, this particular program calculates the value of pi. That is the program written in this particular uh, example. So as I'm going to execute it, let me also log in from other, or I can do it from here. So I'll just, let me do it here. So kubectl. Uh, Let me just initialize the pods not here in my default namespace. Let me actually clean up all the previous Spark application so that it is clean. I should have copied application. Okay, let me just get it from there. What is this? Yeah, this is what. Okay, okay. I don't know where did I made a mistake, but that's okay. Just go delete all of them for now. There is no none of the Spark jobs are running. So what I'll do is I'm now going to execute this particular job and then see that how all these pods are running and so on. So I'll just get this pods for now. So only have operator running here, but then I'll go and update this particular YAML file. And in this YAML file, as I mentioned earlier, we are creating an object of type Spark application. This should eventually trigger a job on the Spark and calculate the value of pi. Let me just apply this. And once I have done it, I can come and check. You can see here, it is kind of running this particular uh, app for me, and then it would perform that operation, which would calculate the value of pi, and then it would then finish off. And of course, if I kind of go and check the Spark object, you can see that there going to be a Spark object called Spark-pi. That's the name we have given, and eventually it is all already completed. So if I look at the pods now, you can see this particular work was being done. It's like a batch operation. And if I describe the pod here, this information here, sorry, I should do a logs actually of this or the other one. Yeah. So as you can see, it can tell me what would be the value of pi somewhere. Yeah, this one, right? You can see here, right? So again, this is a way to kind of just say something is being done here. So the idea is that you are going to create these Spark jobs to perform different things here. Like for example, if I go to the book here, right, we can check what they are trying to achieve in some of these things. So like here, as you can see, in this case, uh, we are trying to connect to the Postgres. Then we are trying to get the data from the airlines.csv file. So read delimiter, is it same or it's airlines and airport? Correct. As you can see that I'm building a kind of a say data frame. In a data frame, I'm reading the information from my database. Then I'm reading from my CSV file, getting the information about airline. Then I'm getting the information about the airports, right? So once I have all of this data, this would get merged into a single data frame, as you can see here, right? And the duplication also, which we cleared eventually. So what will happen is we would have a combined data set by reading from different sources. This demo, I don't have it right now, but if things happen, I can do it next time. But the idea is that you kind of got the data from different places, and you done it once by doing running this command manually. But if you have to automate this process, I want to these things in a way by which I can say do this thing every day at given time, and that is where Airflow can come into picture. So Apache Airflow is a tool using which we can create these workflows. So if you look at, let me see. Yeah, so if you look at here, there are these different providers which are available here. Now, what is a provider? Providers are nothing but what are the tools you can use to build your workflow, right? So, for example, you want to connect with MongoDB to get the data, right? You want to connect to a Discord, you want to connect to a Docker, you want to connect to a Kubernetes cluster, right? You want to connect to a Datadog. So, you can configure the Airflow and then you can try to fetch the data from these different endpoints and do something, right? So what I have done is I could configure the Airflow. Let's see if it's still running. I think I need to kind of do this um, port forwarding here. So, yeah, so what again? I have installed the Helm chart of Airflow. So if I look at Helm list minus and Airflow, you can see here, I have deployed the Airflow on this namespace. And this Airflow, of course, I can export it, right? Let me just do a port forward. So I'm going to do a port forward here. And then let me now try to access it. Sorry. Yeah. So you can see that I have got, this is the access of my Airflow dashboard. Forget about these errors and warnings and so on. Don't bother too much. Um, what I want to kind of tell you more about is there are these providers which I was telling you earlier, right? These providers are available, and of course, you can I think install more providers as well. These providers are there to build a kind of a DAG. What is DAG? Which is directive acyclic graph, right? The idea is that we want to create our workflows using DAG. So let me get some. I think I may have some of these flow here. Let's see. Not this one. Yeah. So as you can see here, right, I can create these workflows. Let me actually show you Airflow DAX images. So as you can see here, I can build some of these complex workflows, right? I want to get my data from something, perform something like, for example, I will get data from my Twitter stream. I want to do some analysis on that, and I want to post, let's say, on LinkedIn. That's also possible, I believe, right? Something like that is possible, right? So these are the complex workflows workflows you can build. So you can say one DAG, other DAG, you can do all that stuff. So, and to do these workflows, I already told you about, there are these providers are available and which can help you to build all of this complex stuff, right? Um, then you have these connections. So you can connect to a given endpoint and you can use that connection in your workflow. Now, what I want to do in this particular case is I want to give a workflow of the Spark job. That is what I want to do. So when I said that, so currently earlier, the Spark job which I ran earlier, right? So this time which I did, now I want to do it through the Airflow. So I'm saying that at every night 10 p.m. you should go to the database, fetch the new data set, add into my data frame, whatever I'm building, and run the machine learning job again. Or any other thing in general, like think about, I believe even Kubernetes also, right? You can say that, okay, right? Like every night, go and perform this cron job for me. So rather than doing a cron job, you can build a complex workflow through this, right? I hope you're getting the point, right? Any questions here?
No, I think that's pretty clear.
Okay, fine. So
Oh, I think Jack has a question.
yeah, go ahead.
So very good, very educational. Thank you very much. At my work, I used to work with developers who use what's called NiFi for data pipelining. Is Airflow in the same category as NiFi? Is it a competitor? Is one old,
How
one
do you
new?
pronounce NiFi?
What's your perspective? If I were to talk to them, what would they say
What is
about
NiFi?
Airflow?
Can you just spell it?
NiFi.
Oh, okay, NiFi. That's all. I have not used it at all. Sorry.
No, if by the way, if you don't recognize it and don't know it, then that's a good enough answer right there. I say it because there's a lot of people at my work who used to
Okay,
use
so
NiFi, and I
this is
just wanted
okay.
to know if you had
Again, this is from
a
again
perspective.
Apache. This is again from Apache, I believe, right? So I believe yeah, I don't know what the status of it.
It's data,
But
it's data pipelining, and so I just wanted to know if you had any perspective, and it's okay if it's okay if you don't.
so data pipelining, I don't have much perspective, but I believe let's just look at on the Apache itself what these guys are saying. So what is the project? What that's it, nothing else.
No, it's okay. I don't want to take over the meeting on this discussion.
Okay.
It's just in case you had a ready-made answer. It's okay. I'll go Google it. Thank
Like
you.
just let's go to Google. I mean, this
No,
particular.
I can do that. I can do that. I just wanted to see if you had any opinion, because to me, I need to learn more about Airflow. This is just new to me,
Okay, let's skip that. Yeah.
that's very
Okay,
good. Thank
fine.
you.
So yeah, I don't know how to I want to, but yeah. So what I'm trying to convey here is I want to build that pipeline. For that pipeline building, I have the armory which I have is to have these providers, to have these plugins I have not used. And then once I have these things, I try to connect them. I can connect with any one of these things via the mechanism like this thing, as you can see here. I can put all of these connections. So depending on what connection I want to make, I can do that. Like for example, I want to send an email, right? When something happens, I can do that, right? So similarly, what I wanted to kind of do it, I wanted to kind of run a job on Kubernetes. So what I did is I created an connection on my Kubernetes cluster. So I'm saying, hey Airflow, take this particular Spark job and run on my Kubernetes cluster. So I want to say that at a given point, right? So I made a connection here saying that, okay, Airflow can connect to my Kubernetes cluster. So of course I need to set up right permissions and everything behind the scene, but this is how I can make connection to my Kubernetes cluster via this. Then what I do is I have to kind of configure this DAG. That DAG can help me run these workflows which I want to do as I would wish, right? So for example, I don't know if this will work or not because this did not work earlier. Okay, let's go with the original one only. So now, what I want to show you. So now these DAGs are nothing but Python scripts. So you can write your workflow, like I want to, what I was showing you here, right? So I can write down all of these things as a Python code, right? So do this, do this, do this kind of a thing. So I have built some of these workflows, and what you can do is we can upload those um, those DAGs which we are building into our Git repo, and we can connect that Git repo to the Airflow. So what I've done is I have done that actually. So let me just find that. Not this one, sorry. 1 minute. Yeah. So see these DAGs what you're building, right? That these DAGs need to be built and saved somehow so that our Airflow can read them, right? So there are a few different ways of doing it. One is you put them in a Docker file, or what we can do is we can put them in a Git repo and connect that Git repo with our Airflow, right? So whenever we update anything here, it would get reflected in the Airflow dashboard. So what we do is we define, like I'll show you this one. This is how a sample DAG would look like. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build a very simple thing, a Python program here. I would load a specific module. I would load my operator, which I told you earlier, Python, Java, and other stuff there, right? Whatever is there, Kubernetes, all those things. I'll load a given module here, and then I'm going to define my DAG, like when I want to run it, like every day, every other day, whatever, right? And then I would define that, okay, under this DAG, what all apps I want to do. So I'm saying in this case, hey, hello world task, right? And a simple one, bash operator, which would run this command, hello world, nothing much. And you define which particular task you would run. If you have multiple tasks, you can define like this. So for example, let's try to see if this will put up there. So I'm just going to define one more job here. Let's say task one and task one here. And then I would say, so again, this is my previous DAG. I'm saying that again, add this particular task into a DAG. So this is kind of adding into a DAG again. And then I would say, first you run task one, and then you run, sorry, first you run task and then run task one. This is how I can say the flow of it. So once I save this, commit the changes, what's going to happen is this change would be read by my Airflow. Okay, so I believe I had an error in that. Okay, let's see what was the error. Bash operator indentation was a problem earlier. Okay. Okay, that one did not work. So, which line number does it say? Line. It was a simple. No, it was not that, right? It was a different one. So, let's see. Come on. Oh, hello world is the DAG name. That is what's coming here. Hello world is here. Yeah, and if you look at the code here, right, you can see these things have come up here, right? Whatever change I have done on my Git repo, you can see those changes come here, correct? So I have these two operators are in place. I can go ahead and execute them now. They would be executed as we kind of discuss. Yeah, has been a success already, right? So it ran the first and second job. Similarly, I can add other jobs and so on and do it finish one after another. I can find out, right, even the logs, what is the logs have come from a given work. Hope it makes sense, right? Again, at a very high level. So now similarly, what I have done is we have configured a similar DAG for the Spark job. Let me show you that particular work here. What is the work there in this we are putting up? So in the spark.py, this is a DAG how it looks like. So I'm going to, of course, import the respective module, like all this Kubernetes Spark, Kubernetes operator, sensor, or whatever the hook is. I need to kind of load that. And then what I'm doing here is I am preparing this DAG here. In this DAG, I'm saying run this particular job, which is start that py program which I mentioned earlier, right? So, and that is being defined in my same repo here. If you look at here, I have a same program here. So what I'm saying is now that as I execute this particular workload on my through my Airflow, so as I run the DAG, this Airflow would communicate to a Kubernetes cluster and run the job, correct? Which means it can go connect to my Spark operator, create a Spark instance, then perform the whatever I'm saying in this case, we'll get the value of pi. But what I told you earlier, right? It can connect to a Postgres database, to a S3 bucket, get all of these things, and build a common data frame for you to do further operations on that. Correct. So for now, let's kind of go ahead and then execute this DAG here. And as I do this, it's going to start executing, and I can kind of go back and check here. Okay, it's already running. Actually, it was some of them were triggered like every other time, whatever it is. But if you look at this particular job, just got triggered, and this would be in the given state, whatever the state it is going to be. So some of them are pending state because multiple of them are running, but eventually these work would finish one after another based on the concurrency we have on our Spark cluster. So this is what I could do. This took me a lot of time to set up, understand things like even doing this DAG mounting automatically on the Airflow took a good amount of time. But assuming that we could do this, this is what they're talking about in this book, which we were reading, that we should, yeah. So we should kind of read that particular data set, build a pipeline from Spark so that whenever new data updated by the team, it would run the entire workflow again. That is what is being mentioned here. And if you want to pursue further, we can do that, but let's see. And then the next step was after that, once we have done that pipeline, the next step was, of course, to do the next step is to like this is again analysis of whatever they try to do. But eventually, what will happen is we would build a model. That model would basically go and get deployed or get saved on the ML flow, through which we can like as you can see, this ML flow has come up here. So after that, it's going to be again we can serve it by the K server, something like that. That was what has been covered in this book overall. So I may still give a try to basically give you a demo of the final thing, that whatever they are saying here, pick up this data set and merge them and so on, but I can't confirm that right now. So maybe if I can do it, I can show you at least half of the time for the next session. Otherwise, Abdul can take up the Qflow session.
Sure, this is good, yeah. But just a quick question, Nipendra, and this is more of an opinionated question, right? Coming from an ops background and looking at a tool like Airflow, what do you think about the comparison between Airflow and Jenkins? Can I not do this entire thing in Jenkins?
Can you not do everything in Jenkins?
See, for me, this looks very similar to a CI pipeline, right? If I just want to make an analogy, right? Typically in software, what I would do is I would create DAGs using Jenkins, right? Run your lint, run static analysis, run blah blah things. If they are successful, then go ahead and build the code, then go ahead and run the unit tests, right? Then build an image, push that image. If it is successful, go and deploy.
Yeah, so Airflow is typically being used in the data world per se, not on the CI world. But let's see if somebody can tell me what are the differences um, Airflow and Jenkins can have. Again, it's a learning for all of us. So let's just see if there is a common thing. So workflows, plugin library, setup. Again, you can also
See,
compare
from what I've seen in this demo,
uh,
honestly, I can set up an entire CI using Airflow. That is
yeah.
for sure, right? So what Jenkins can do, Airflow can do. But what I'm trying to understand is what is it that Airflow does that Jenkins cannot? I know that Airflow is pretty popular in the data space and also in enterprises.
Mhm.
A lot of people kind of use it. It's a big project, but I've never got to use it hands-on and just wanted to know your perspective. Maybe I'll also spend some time on this.
Yeah, yeah. Sure. I think what data pipelines are primarily where Airflow shines. And then
Mm.
people are also, rather than using Airflow, they are trying to use Argo flow workflows. Correct?
Right. So
Yeah, yeah,
Tekton,
that,
Argo workflows,
yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
Correct. So you can also use
yeah, that's
Airflow.
another one. I have done some stuff on my side using hardware workflow. That's pretty similar what you guys is doing.
Correct. Correct.
The pretty difference there is that I had to use the Kubernetes itself. It was not possible to kind of define any DAG on our workflow. Even I believe it's possible to, but it's pretty similar what I
Yeah,
feel
correct. Yeah.
is doing.
So wherever the workflow comes, you can actually use, I believe, these things together. But
Yeah.
inside, I mean, let's see. Yeah, so I see that, okay, even these guys, right? AWS has published something, Argo. Uh, they built an entire pipeline with this, right? They call it as, I don't know why.
Mm.
Yeah. They built something with completely with this thing. So you can also do with Argo and connectivity with Spark, that can be done as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you can actually use this as well. So they kind of, yeah, I think this one. Uh, yeah, Yast, whatever that workflow is there, right? No, this one, right? So Jupyter, Argo, Ray, and Kubernetes. This call is
Mm.
whatever this flow, right? So we can, whatever we did right now is we can do this,
Mm-hmm.
right, with this kind of thing as well, right? So like Ray, they are using for serving the model. So we saw that, okay, we're going to use, let's say, K-serve, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can use Ray for serving the models, Argo for workflow, Jupyter for notebooks, and Kubernetes is there, correct?
Interesting.
So again, there are
I think
multiple
it's
things.
it's more a matter of choose your own poison.
Correct, correct, yeah.
Um
So
yeah.
of course, I know that Apache as an entire ecosystem, right? It's more open, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then a company like Cloudera, they do a lot of work in this space
Mm.
of this. So of
Mm.
course, yeah, you can pick up Argo, you can pick up even Apache, this Airflow. But yeah, we can do different things in different areas.
Got it. Cool, man. Thanks.
Okay, so I think that's all for today. So Abdul, if you want to kind of take a session on Kubeflow, then I'll suggest the next week we can take the session on Kubeflow. Correct. I'll try to see if I can prepare the final demo of this. Otherwise, I think this is it for this book, and then we should look for the next item, next book per
Sure
se.
thing. So I'll spend some time on that and discuss with you as well. Maybe I'll ping you on Slack on the CNCF channel, and we'll see how we can arrange the next session.
Sure, sure. Sounds good.
All
Okay.
right.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Jack. Any questions, any feedback you guys have?
This is very interesting. I got some homework to do. Thank you very much.
Great.
Me too.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, guys.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool,
Bye-bye.
man.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you. Bye bye.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.